You are taught, this is not a conspiracy, you are taught things to make you stay a good little worker bee. You are taught and you are conditioned to believe a bunch of so that you are a good little worker bee and people in power make more money. A lot of y'all learned about a couple years ago when Adam Ruins Everything and other people about how the diamond industry worked. That's not a bug, that's a feature. I want you to think about things you've been taught, okay? I want you to tell me how many of y'all have been taught this or believe this is true. 1, buying a house is always better than renting, right? Pay yourself, not somebody else, blah, 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 blah. You're taught that. It's better to pay your mortgage than somebody else's mortgage. But nowhere in there does it tell you that if you have an interest rate of above 5 or 6% and a high home price, how much it costs that you're renting from the bank, how much interest you pay and non-returnable capital every year. Nobody tells you that. Why? Who do you think is the one who came up with this? You think this was a bunch of fucking home buyers? You think a bunch of people bought it and 2 years in realized that they were paying an ungodly amount of money out of their pocket that was never going to the principal of the home? And they were like, yep, this was the absolute best decision I ever made, and I have no regrets. I'm going to tell everybody in the world this. No. Number 2, don't talk about compensation in the workplace. Who the do you think made that up? You think that came from a bunch of people sitting around saying, man, I'd really like to figure out how much everybody's making so we know we're all getting the fair amount of money? Who do you think made that up? You think that was a bunch of workers that got together one day and said, oh, I don't want to talk about it because I don't want people finding out I make more than them or I make less than them? No. The more information you have, the more you get paid. Well, if I tell people I make more than them, then they're going to want more money and my job's going to be in line. What? Well, if I tell people I make less, they're going to make fun of me. No, that's not how that works. I realize that this is going to be a hot topic, but this one right here. You think that a bunch of people one day said, hey, you know what? All these companies that have unions, they all seem to make a lot more money and they seem to have a lot more benefits and better quality of life. But we shouldn't talk about that, right? What do you think the number, and I'm not even saying you should be in a union or not a union or whatever. I'm not even having that conversation. What do you think is the biggest reason why people don't join or talk about unions? You'd be doing the same if you were running the business, though. Now you're trying to derail the conversation. Stick to what we're talking about here. Number 1, think you're going to get fired. Well, guess what? You can't. There's laws against that. Workplace discrimination. You sue the shit out of your employer. Number 2, well, the union is going to take a fee from me, and I'm going to have to pay to be in the union, and they might take my money and not do anything, and I barely get by as it is. And there's a history of unions being corrupt. Unions, honestly, are such lazy workers, and they take 8 years to make a single on-ramp. I don't want to be a part of that. That just means there's a union. But again, I'm not here to tell you to be a union or not to be a union. I'm just telling you, these are things you're taught, or it's the Mandela effect. Like you're convinced that these are the right things. Because how the f did we get on this topic again? The barn door? No, that was the walk of shame. Things people don't talk about. Yeah, but why were we talking about this? Switching fast food jobs? Yeah. Licking corporate boots to own the libs? What? Oh, ignorance versus stupidity. Okay, I don't remember exactly how we got onto this. But it's the same reason that people don't switch jobs, right? This is how okay, so we got to talk about switching jobs, right? So people switch jobs to make more money. But the reason people are afraid of doing that is another one where company loyalty, right? There's this idea that if I keep switching jobs, no one's going to want to hire me. Because they're going to look at my resume and say, oh, he changes jobs every 1 to 2 years. We don't want to put time into training him and doing all that if he's just going to leave us. Or she. They're hiring the best fucking candidate they can, hope to get the best out of you, and hope you stay. But they're not going to hire somebody underqualified because they think they're going to stay longer. You think that's what a company does? You say, listen, this guy seems really good for the job, but he changes jobs every 1 to 2 years. I'm going to take this fucking bum because he's going to stick around and that. No, but they've ingrained it in your head so much that either A, if you keep leaving, you're not going to get another job. B, if you stay in the company and work hard and stay loyal, you will work your way up the ranks. I've already told you how this works, guys. That's just a way of keeping you around and being the nice, good little busy worker that they can underpay because you're going to work your ass off. You're going to work overtime without pay. You're going to bust your ass and you're going to get this good, and you're going to be so good that the next person, right? You're the senior manager, right? And the VP is right here, and you know so much, you've been there so long that you know more than the VP does, and you're better at their job. And the VP gets fired or leaves, and you're thinking, well, guess what? I'm next in line for VP. I've been here 15 years. I've worked my ass off. I've come in every day that they've asked me to come in. I've done everything they've done. I've worked above and beyond anything that I should. I've worked unpaid overtime and stuff like that. I'm next. Then they bring in another VP, and they pay the VP 20% more than the last VP. Why the would they hire you, promote you to the next job up if you're already doing that job for free? Why would they promote you or pay you more if they're already getting it from you now? You think company loyalty is what they're going to do? No, they're going to bring in a VP. They're going to hire them. They're going to pay them 20% more because that was the incentive for them to come to their company instead of another company. And you're going to train them for free. Well, I'll just wait until the VP leaves again. Well, I'll get my 3% cost of living increase and then eventually I'll get there. All the while, you could have been like, you know what? The first time this happens, I'm out. I'm going here. I'm taking a job here. Fresh start. I'm getting a 15% increase rather than 5 years here to get that. Then now I've got a fresh start. I'm starting here, which is there's a guy below you who's been doing this, who's going to train you. And now you're going to continue to do well. And then in a couple of years, if you don't get what you want, you're going to see a job opening over here. You're going to see you worked for this company. You're this, you did that, you worked here, did that, and you're going to move over. Or you stay in middle management for the rest of your life working someone else's job. Guys, Australia just passed a law. Australia's stupid in a lot of their but they just passed a very interesting law, which is going to be very good or very bad for depending on who it's for. Okay? All right? It's right here. It's called the right to disconnect law. It means that an employer cannot contact you once you're off the clock. The way the law is written, a boss could actually go to jail if they do it. They'll probably change that. Now, probably not good if it's a police officer, an EMT, or a fireman. I'd hate to see a house burn down, but either way. In the United States, we don't have that. But let me tell you all something. Remember this guy here that spent 15 years trying to be company loyalty? I'm going to tell you all something right now. Do not answer your phone from your place of business after hours. Also, go into your settings and turn off recipient read message, right? So that way, if you do read a text, it doesn't show that you read it. A lot of y'all don't have that off. People can see when you read a text. Do not answer your phone. That is your time. You are not getting paid for it. Also, if you are getting a promotion and they give you the option to pay for your cell phone, do not take it. That is the biggest trap ever. Because the moment they pay for your cell phone bill, you have to answer the phone anytime they call. Do you think that $70 a month you're saving on your cell phone bill is worth the tens to 20 to 30 hours extra you're going to work? Do not accept that. Waive it. You have every right to waive that compensation. Do not get a reimbursement for your cell phone bill. I taught my boss how to turn the message red off. Exactly. A lot of y'all need to do that. All right? Don't take that. Yeah, but Stocky, if I come in and cover all my shifts, I'll go to the moon. I worked 24 hours on Christmas, my last year at one of my hotels. That was the last straw. I busted my ass. My GM was the manager of the year for the entire hotel group because of the work I did. She didn't even show up to work. She had to ask me questions before going into finance meetings. Eventually, they wouldn't let me go into the weekly finance and accounting roundtables because she was embarrassed. And it's not because I was so good. It's because she was so stupid. But she was there, and she was literally showing up, and her hotel was outperforming and doing this, even though she never showed up to work. And she didn't do anything in finances and had to ask me what EBITDA meant and how do we calculate what our bottom line is versus where our expense. I did all of that, and I didn't get any credit. I didn't get a pay raise. She got manager of the year. She got all these things. But what was I gonna do? Run around? So you know what I did? I started looking for another job, and I took a night resort manager at a bigger property for double the pay. Yeah, she did do a very good job of getting me to do the work for her. Managers, I was the operations manager. She was the general manager. But you didn't get none? Ooh, you didn't want none from that. I wouldn't let Stocky in accounting meetings either. A 5-minute meeting would be an otherwise long otherwise. No, it wasn't like that. I was always trying to bang the accountant girls. But the problem was the two accountant girls were just, you couldn't. There's not enough alcohol and probably not enough money. All right? So back to what I was saying. Company loyalty. Who do you think taught all that? You think the people working there 20 years not going up the corporate ladder are the ones telling you to stay loyal to your company? No. So again, the whole point of this was, oh, now I remember how this got started. Somebody said only boomers and billionaires are doing well. No. The people who are doing well aren't out there bragging about it. Okay? And I'm not saying that people who are struggling shouldn't express their struggles online, but people who are doing well aren't sitting there doing TikToks about, hey, guys, guess how well I'm doing right now? Guess how many groceries I bought right now? Nobody wants to hear that. That's like somebody in a blue state saying they're a Trump supporter or some right? Like people are quietly whatever they are. But you don't hear about it because those people aren't out there because that doesn't give the reaction. It's usually a negative reaction. If I went online right now and let's say I was working a tech job for $60,000 a year 3 years ago, and I changed jobs 6 times, and I'm like making $210,000, and I just upped my 401k, and now I have a house, and I posted that online. How do you think the reaction's going to be? That person will get eviscerated. Oh, it's because you were born into money. Oh, it's because you had mommy and daddy paid for your education. Oh, it's because you're white or you're a male or you're in tech. You don't understand what it's like. You don't have kids. They don't do that. And to the person who just said, well, the numbers show that the vast majority of Americans are struggling. First off, if you don't understand the difference there, sit down and shut the fuck up. I'm serious. Sit down. No one needs to hear your opinion because it doesn't matter. If you think struggling is the same thing as poor, sit down, shut up. Not you guys, but like in general. That is not anywhere near the same. That is not even close, okay? Those two things aren't even near each other in the grand scheme of things, okay? There are a lot of people struggling right now, absolutely. And a lot of those people are struggling no fault of their own. Some of it's because of inflation and prices. Some of it's because of wages. And a lot of it has to do with the fact that they don't know what to do to get out of the situation or how to better the situation. Remember what I went back to? 2 people working in McDonald's in 2020. Both of them making $8 an hour. 2021, 2022, when everybody's coming back into the workforce. Well, guess what? One of those guys stayed because I'm going to stay and be a manager and be loyal while everybody else is leaving. They're going to recognize me. And then you've got Costco over here. You've got Home Depot over here. And you've got, I don't know, Walmart over here. We're upping our starting pay to $11.50 to $15.50 per hour. And this person said, F it, I'm taking that. 2 years later, this person is probably making $8.50. And this person, even if they only got cost of living increases based on what these things, they're making around 15 to 17. Now, I realize that this is a single example, but this is an example of somebody who knows what to do and what somebody who doesn't understand, because they've been ingrained with the propaganda of be a good little worker bee. People are too scared to take the risks. Can you really blame them? I can't blame them for being scared to take a risk. But when somebody says, I don't understand why this is happening, I can point to this and say, yes, life isn't fair. The system is, but you have to take advantage of the opportunities that are there, or you will be left behind. You just motivated me to search for another better paid job. Do it. What is stopping you? What is stopping you from looking? I mean, for jobs. Stocky, I've tried nothing and I'm all out of ideas. What jobs? There are so many jobs out there. But the problem is that we get everything in this world is being pushed on us to not go do these things, because if everybody was doing these things, the system would collapse, guys. In order for GDP and the money machine and the economies to keep going, you need the fear and greed cycle. You have to have this cycle to continue. A colony is only going to continue to expand if there's lots of worker bees, right? You need the vast majority of people to live in the fear and greed cycle. If everybody broke out of that cycle, all of this would stop. Some people would like that. Most people who think that they want that to stop would be dead within a week, but it's cool. They can live in a fantasy. But the fear and greed is what drives it. Are you looking for a better looking babysitter? So are we Jan 6ing? No, what? No, that's not even a thing. But so many people can learn about this stuff and get out of it. I have seen a lot of people who are struggling, and I may not be able to get them out of the situation, but identify how they got into it or the opportunities they didn't take because they were afraid. But why were they afraid? They're afraid because they've been taught to be afraid. They've been taught to be afraid. Well, I don't want to change jobs because we have a health insurance plan. My kids might have to change school. That could disrupt their education. we just bought a house. I can't change jobs because I'm on a path to, my boss told me I'm on a path to promotion. Well, I don't want to take a risk because what if I leave this job and they were going to turn me into vice president one day and I go to another job and I get fired in 2 weeks? Bitch, you could get fired from this job in 2 weeks. Ask anybody who works at Amazon, Google, Meta, Facebook, or whatever the f it's called, Snapchat, WeWork. I mean, really? I could get fired if I go to another job. Bitch, you could be fired tomorrow at your job now. Those are all valid? Of course they're valid. And in 15 to 20 years, when you're looking at yourself and saying, wow, I can't afford to send my kids to college and I'm never going to fucking retire, I'm really glad that I listened to those valid things and stayed in this fucking rut for 25 fucking years and didn't get any growth because at least it was safe. Eat the same food every single day the rest of your life. I'm not trying to be a dick, but here's the thing. I've said this before, and this is one thing that I say to people. I tell this to people all the time whenever somebody gets in a conversation. I said, do you know what is scarier than not knowing the future? The unknown is scary as it always has been. But do you know what's scarier than that? Looking around at what you're doing right now, your daily routine, where you work, what you do, how you're living, and what everything is, and realizing that's going to be your life every day for the rest of the time you're alive. And saying, wow, I don't really enjoy this that much. And then realizing, but at least I know what the future is going to be. That's scarier than me. Looking at what I have, being unsatisfied and realizing that's my future, that's scarier to me than taking a risk and not knowing the future. I know that some of y'all are sitting here saying, yeah, easy for you to say, well, sure. But I looked at my job after I got, whatever, and realized in hospitality and said, man, I could always come back to this, but this isn't what I want to do. I don't want to put up with other people's and get yelled at by customers and have to smile and put up with it. I don't want to do that the rest of my life. I don't care how high up the chain I get. I'm never going to be a GM of a Hilton somewhere. And even that is not that great of a job. Do I really want to work at a hotel dealing with people? I don't want to do this. And I took a chance. You're too old to stream. You're streaming about something that nobody cares about. This is a gaming site. Guys, there's no such thing as being too old to learn something new, okay? I was scared. It took me weeks, months even, to get up the courage to quit my job to come do this. Everyone said I was stupid and crazy and an idiot. Even my wife looked at me and said, babe, I don't know if this is going to work out, but I trust in you. And that's all I needed. And as fate would have it, 8 months later, I would have lost my job because of COVID. But instead, I was here and COVID gave me a new career. Sure, doesn't work out for everybody, but I guarantee if I didn't take the risk, I'd be probably working, I would have been laid off for a year or two. I would have had to find another hotel to work at, probably take a lower position because everybody's jumping into the industry. And I'd be doing the same thing over again, having entitled people telling me, okay? So yeah, it's scary, but look at all the successful people out there, or people that have some sort of happiness and self-worth and weren't born into it, that worked for it. They all took a risk, and a lot of them failed multiple times. I have failed doing this. I failed horribly post GameStop, but I learned, right? I'm still out here doing this. Nobody else doing it yet that's able to come up to this level. Somehow I'm doing something because I'm evolving, I'm learning. I'm not contempt, I'm not, comfortable. You still have entitled people telling you as a streamer? Yeah, but unlike the hotel, I could just ban them, tell them to f off, roast them, or make them watch ads. I couldn't do that before. I'm my own business owner. I suck at it, but I make it by. There's only one thing I'm good at. That's this shit. Entertaining, educating, investing, trading, that's it. Everything else I suck at. I can't keep appointments right. I f up sponsorships. I don't know how to do anything behind the scenes tech. It's made this most scuffed finance show in the world. It is what it is. Do you suffer from imposter syndrome? 100%. But it's also a blessing because I've lived the life I have. I don't take anything for granted. And so when somebody recognizes me and they say, hey, you're the stock guy, or hey, can I get a picture or something? I get kind of like, I guess, sure, whatever. Because I feel like the stock guy is like a suit. You know what I mean? It's like my job. Like, I don't feel like it's a job, but it's like I leave that separately. So when I'm here, I'm the stock guy. And when I leave, I'm just Jason. I'm dad, I'm Jason, I'm husband, I'm son, grandson, whatever. So I do really feel like an imposter. I never understand. That's why I always I'll tell people my opinions, but I'm never going to act like I know everything or I'm going to be the one. This is the truth. This is the law. I don't understand why people watch me or listen to anything I say. I just give opinions, but I'm like, I'll just have fun with it. But again, what I'm getting at is the reason that a lot of people are struggling is because they don't know how to escape the cycle. They're not supposed to. And in some cases, they're either not getting out of their situation because they don't know, or they're in the situation because they didn't know. And I want to be able to provide some of you guys the opportunity to avoid those situations or get out. So the idea that the vast majority of Americans are in poverty is a lie. The vast majority of Americans are struggling is a lie. Okay? It seems that way because the people who are struggling are the biggest voice online. And they're also the ones that don't have anything to get roasted over and, whatever. A lot of people are doing very well. Okay? And a lot of people that are struggling will do very well once they can understand some of these things, right? If you think that we went from 2018, the entire country was amazing, to everyone is broke now, it's not, that didn't happen. You balance education and entertainment extremely well. You're talented, Stocky. Somebody please time that person out. That's just wrong. A lot of people are not doing well. Gaslighting? Do you know what gaslighting means, sir? So if a lot of people are not doing well, you're saying a lot is in the majority? You're saying the majority of people in America are doing bad. Thanks to you, Stocky, I pestered out my bosses for raises every 6 months, and now I make more than everyone in my department above me. That's great until you get in trouble, but cool. Stocky, we love you and adore you and think you're over. Time that person out too, please. I love how Stocky can harp about national debt and then smack down what? Does the record amount of debt take into account inflation money being worth less and people earning more? Depends. Wages are different. Even the people that are wealthy, their health is doing really badly. The f does that have to do with people's financial situations, bro? So you're saying wait for once in a 100-year pandemic? Bro, you have to be a zoomer. Because as a millennial, I've already been through 3 economic crashes, okay? Worldwide pandemics, wars. Okay, what are you talking about, bro? Finance and health is definitely related? Bro, no. Did you know that food and health is related too? Did you know that your mom and dad are related? Because that's the only reason you're that stupid. I'm sorry, that was, my bad. I'm sorry. Let's just play marbles real quick. I didn't apologize. I said my bad. I didn't apologize. I said my bad. That guy's never going back. I'm using that one. I'm sorry. My bad. I don't know where that came from.